Welcome to Concept Being the podcast, where the intention is well, but let's be for real. Life gets a little chaotic, and so do we. And that's totally fine. It's fine. You're fine. I'm fine. We're literally fine. And we're all about finding the balance while staying honest with health, wellness, and all the juicy topics that matter. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Concept Being the podcast, where the intention is well. My name is Jade, and I will be your host for today's episode. And today's episode is all about the concept of indestructible wellness. To help me get to the bottom of what could bring upon indestructible wellness, I'm joined by Kati and Alex Pauls, hosts of the Paragenius podcast. Let's get into it. So, Kati, do you want to kick the episode off with a moment? Which one will you be sharing with us?
I'm going to go for a wellness moment. You know what? I have been dealing with a lot of things going on in my body. I'm midlife right now, so I'm like, all right, is this menopause? Is this something else? And honestly, the big thing that I learned was that I just really have to listen to my body anytime. And this has been like the thing throughout my whole life, that anytime that I'm going through some kind of a shift in my business or personally or life, it's my body that speaks the loudest and that gets my attention the quickest. So this time it was my kidney. I thought, oh my God, something's wrong with my kidney. I've got stones. And it's wild how every 7 years my body speaks that loudly. It's like, okay, we're going to get your attention. We're going to go through something quite large here. So get your shit together. Oh, can I swear on the podcast?
Yes, we love swearing. Go ahead, do your thing.
Yes, because my body just actually said, get your shit together. So I'm dealing with all sorts of things related to that. And I'm reminded that my body knows best. I really have to listen to myself and know that I can heal too whenever anything comes up. So that's my moment.
Hey, can I ask you, do you think like the 7 years is very specific? Do you think it's like because of the way that like, what is it? Like they say like every 7 years, like all of your cells regenerate. So like you're like a new person. Do you think that that has anything to do with it?
It really does. Honestly, I live by intuition to my cycles. So it's so weird that now that I'm entering this premenopause, that my cycle is totally thrown out of whack. I don't know what is going on. I'm like, okay, normally I could tell like my phases and everything else, but I don't know. So I really appreciate that at least I'm at the 7 year mark and my body is speaking the way it normally does to me. So you're right.
Yeah, I was like, that sounds very familiar. So, okay, alignment. Alex, do you want to share a moment with us?
Yeah, it's funny. The moment that came to me, I teleported back to, I believe the year was 2005, which was 21 years ago. I was only 25 years old at the time, and Kati and I lived in northern Canada, and this is my wellness moment, and it was the coldest I had ever been physically. It was minus 70 Celsius, minus 90 Fahrenheit. I was outside working and thinking to myself, how am I going to survive this? Wearing basically as many layers as possible, squinting my eyes so that they don't explode because I could actually feel the moisture in my eyes drying up or freezing, and I would have to keep blinking so that yeah, it honestly felt like my eyes were going to explode. And thinking to myself, one of these days I'm going to tell my grandkids about how crazy this is because I should just quit. I should just go back inside. I should quit this job. Nothing is worth dying and freezing to death. My health is more important than this. And I didn't quit. I didn't give up. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. Me and this other guy, we were working on top of this transformer, and it was an emergency. It was basically costing the company $1 million an hour that this transformer was without power. So for I was getting paid 20 bucks an hour in the middle of the Arctic to go and save millions of dollars worth of equipment. I would say that the company got their return on investment and then some with us. But I remember my friend having to go to the hospital because he had frostbite so bad on his hand that there was actually a lot of skin that died that they had to fix it. I didn't have any of that. And I remember being so grateful for my body and for just all the things that you take for granted that keeps you alive, that keeps you warm, that keeps you going. I don't think that I hope that I never have to experience anything like that again, but it was a crazy experience to be almost like living in this situation where you could technically die. Like you could get electrocuted, you could freeze to death, you're in the middle of nowhere and it's dark and there's only one other person, and he's got frostbite, and he's got to go to the hospital, and we're doing these things. So I'm really, really grateful for the things that my body has let me do, and my health has kept me going for this long. And luckily, I haven't felt any adverse effects from that. But I will say this: I do not like the cold anymore. I cannot stand the cold. So if there is a winter home in Phoenix waiting for me, I'll see you this winter.
Yeah, no, I completely feel you on that one. I hate being cold. Also, your shirt right now it does not give cold energy. It gives like I'm on the beach in like warm temperatures and stuff like that. So, but I resonate with that one because I don't like being cold. I don't like anything under 78 degrees. So, I feel you on that one.
So -90 is out for you.
Yeah, like just a little bit. It's a little bit too cold. I think I'll have to skip out on that one. But shout out to you for even. I don't even know that I would function. To be honest with you, I don't think that. Yeah, no, 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 no. So thank you for sharing your wellness moment with us. I think I'm also going to share a wellness moment as well. So I'm about to go on my second, I'm going to call it adventure of the year. And one thing that I've noticed in my last part of traveling was that backstory, have gym anxiety. I don't like going to the gym because it just feels overwhelming to walk into a gym, especially like the last time I went to a gym was before COVID. And so that's a long time. Like that was like 4 or 5 years. And so, like, the idea of going into a gym was really overwhelming for me. It felt like, I don't know, it felt like I was like climbing a mountain. And so, when I was traveling for the last couple of months, I was avoiding gyms and I was only working out at home or like in my Airbnbs and stuff like that. I brought my little resistance bands, but like, let's be honest, like, it comes to a point where like you need some lifting, like some weights and stuff like that. And so, I signed up for a gym in California because I was like, I'm going to ease myself into being in an international gym. Because it was one thing to go to a gym, it was another thing to go to a gym in a different country where you don't speak the language and everything. And so in my head, I was like, I'm going to go to a gym here in California, kind of build up to it. And then when I'm traveling, I'll feel more comfortable being in an international gym. So, my wellness moment is I signed up for a gym in California for a month and it's been good. So I'm ready for this next journey because I will not be skipping out on the gym. I need my gains. So that's my wellness moment for today. But I'm super excited because today we're going to be talking about indestructible wellness and indestructible health. This one really came from Alex. You don't get sick, right? Like that was the conversation that we were having. And I thought that was so interesting. Do you want to share with us a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. And I mean, the whole idea is to unpack this phenomenon that I kind of don't understand. Have I, so lately I've been, and Kati will attest to this, lately I've been waking up and I've been coughing for no reason. And it's not that I'm sick. I'm noticing that either I have anxiety or I'm stressed or something's happening and I'm coughing. But it's not a cold, it's not, and it's been happening for months. So I feel like there's something that I need to address with that. But as far as the getting sick thing, the last time I got sick was probably in 2020 or 2021 when Kati and I think we had a stomach flu. Our daughter got the stomach flu and then we all got destroyed. And after that, so for the last basically 5 years, I've been indestructible, which is bizarre because before that, I would say I would get my yearly colds and flus and just normal things. And after 2020, something has changed. Something has changed inside me, whether it be my belief systems about getting sick, whether it's me taking care of myself or the way I'm taking care of myself, or me allowing certain energies in my orbit. Yeah, different things to unpack. But the thought of germs entering my body and making me sick, I don't think I believe in that anymore. I think that
Okay.
I think that it has to do with beliefs and allowances in your body. So that has
Hmm.
been an interesting shift in my belief systems around getting sick.
When did the shift? Yeah, let's get into it. Let's start unpacking it. When did that shift in like I don't believe that this is real? Like when did that happen? Was that in 2020?
Yeah, it must have been the whole COVID wake up call. And I mean, you and I, we had talked last week a little bit about conspiracies. And I mean, if you want to unwrap a huge conspiracy, we can talk about the last 5 years and how things have gone. That really woke me up about our own health, the priority of our health, and not relying on the government, not relying on drug companies or pharmaceuticals and things like that. Like taking your power back, taking control of how you go into the world, what you ingest, whether it be food, whether it be news, media, air, water, whatever. All the things that you bring into yourself will affect your overall state of being. So I would like to give COVID a shout out for waking me up and really igniting my passion and my belief systems that I am way more powerful than what the TV tells me I am.
Okay. Okay, so before we get into it, Kati, I know you said like every 7 years for you. Is it similar for you? Does it happen like every 7 years or what like what's the vibe there?
Are you 7 years for getting
Like
sick?
yeah.
You know what? I don't get sick very often at all, but I grew up. So here's where the belief systems come in because my parents always told me, "You have an excellent immune system." Oh, you're the only one of us that has the best immune system. Well, wouldn't you know, I grew up absolutely believing that my immune system was like indestructible, that it was going to take care of me. So there's never any fear there. So then when COVID happened, I couldn't understand why people were afraid to come into contact with each other. Like, I'm like, what?
Mhm.
You don't want me to come and be with you? Let me put my hands on you. Like, I can heal. Like, let me be with you. And it was like, oh, no, no, no. So, and I neither Alex nor I got vaccinated. Not saying bad or good about that, other than you make your own decision for what's best for you, right? And I knew that I'm not putting anything into my body that my body can't give itself. Like I know that I have the pharmacy within me to take care of whatever happens. That one stomach flu was the worst thing I have ever experienced. Say what you will about COVID, but my God, the stomach flu is like the ultimate worst thing on the planet. I hate it so much. And that stupid little virus got through all four of us. It was absurd. But that really was like the only time that I've been that sick in a long
Okay.
time.
Wow. Okay, y'all, we are completely different because I have health related anxiety. And so like I was just like, "Oh my God, like it's happening." No, y'all, I
Sure,
was
yeah,
terrified. Like I was the
sure.
worst person in my family. I basically need you guys to sanitize your entire body from head to toe before you come near me. Too much health anxiety. So this is a really interesting conversation for us to have because I feel like we're a bit different on this one. So let's talk about like what I mean, has anything changed? Like what's the diet like? Like what do you guys like typically put into your body and has anything changed where you're like, I changed this like 5 years ago or like a couple years ago, and maybe that was the key. Or maybe it was that stomach bug.
Well, first of all, I really do think with my maturity, because at the beginning I was all over the place. I was like a fire hydrant of, you have to believe what I believe and, what I believe is correct. And me taking a step back and realizing that other people's beliefs are important and they help shape their realities. So if your belief is that you need to sanitize and be careful, then that's just what it is, and that's fine. And it's like, oh, okay. So once I realized that I am very powerful and that if I'm eating well and that if I'm exercising, my immune system is going to be 10 times better than what it was. When our kids were little and they would get sick, we were already run down. We were tired. We had these little babies. My job was very stressful. All of these things, and I would say that stress is probably the chink in my armor. If I were to get sick, it would be because of stress. If the
Okay.
levels would become too high, the the armor dome would come down and it would be a free for all in my body, whether it be a cold, whether it be a flu, whether it be, oh, what did I have? Not chickenpox,
Shingles.
shingles. I had shingles in my mid 30s, stress induced shingles. And I mean, my friends would make fun of me because, oh, like, that's an old people disease. And I'm like, yeah, it is an old people disease. Why the heck am I getting it? And realizing that I'm allowing these things to happen by lowering my immune system and just that huge wake up call. So, what was the original question? Because I know that I I always do this and I
No,
forget the original question.
No, this is good. The original question was like, what's like the diet like? But I think that you going into stress was really helpful because it's like, okay, so you're really focused on stress. Like that's your thing that you think is really helpful for you. But like, is there anything else that you think might contribute to you not getting
Def
sick?
Definitely. If I even feel a little bit off, I go to bed and I sleep like a bear. I will sleep for 10 or 12 hours and I will wake up as if nothing happened. But I'll feel that something is a little bit off because I was telling Kati the other day that I don't know what it's I don't like being 99% or less. I like physically being at 100%. So I am the biggest baby if my foot hurts or if my back hurts or if something is off, I am complaining. I'm going to the chiropractor. I'm going to a massage therapist. I'm going to take Tylenol. I am going to do whatever it takes to get back to 100% as quickly as humanly possible. And as far as not feeling well, or when I let that stress level get too high where I start to not feel well, the first way I combat any kind of illness would be to go to bed and just get a crazy sleep. And that usually that usually knocks it out pretty quickly. And our youngest daughter is like that too, where she'll sleep like hibernate and she'll kind of come back much better as well.
Okay, so we got sleep and then we got stress is like one of the thing. What about like diet or anything like that? Like has your diet changed?
Well,
What
I
about
live,
alcohol and everything? Like, sorry, do you like,
yeah,
what's the vibe there? Okay, cool.
I'm lucky. I live with a woman that cooks really healthy meals for me because if it wasn't for her, I would eat like a monster and I would not look like this. If I lived in America, I'd be eating at Chick-fil-A probably 3 times a week and all those things. And but I would say lately, the no we haven't had too much alcohol. I'll maybe have a couple shots of whiskey a week, like a nightcap. Uh,
Hmm.
Not to help myself sleep or not to feel a buzz. I actually just like the way it tastes. I only drink alcohol a little bit because I like the way it tastes, and I try not to make it habitual. So it's like I have to be in the mood, and I'm going to enjoy it, and it is what it is. But as far as food goes, my wife makes me soups and salads and healthy wraps and things like that. And on the weekend, I tell her I need some Doritos, and then I eat some Doritos because they're delicious. And if I'm gonna cook, she knows it's gonna be unhealthy, so I'll make myself some. What do I make? I make like eggs. I like making eggs and toast, but I should cut out bread because it's not the greatest thing for me. That's one thing I noticed last year when I went on a big health kick was trying to cut out as many breads and
Process.
cereals and processed foods too.
Do you eat all the foods? Or like, are you like vegan or anything like that? Vegetarian? Like you're like, we don't miss on the foods.
Yeah, I would say that we're not for the most part vegetarian, but I mean I could eat 70% vegetarian, and then for that last little bit, I'll have some I'll have some meat,
Okay.
whether it's like a pot roast or hamburgers or chicken. I love chicken, but yeah, definitely I like vegan food. Like when Kathy cooks vegan food, it's really good. It tastes amazing, and there's lots of times I don't even miss the meat, but I do like to have meat at least once a day.
What about like genetics or anything? Like, does this run in your family or like, are you like the first indestructible?
My dad is the opposite, right?
Okay.
I told Kathy, I said the only thing keeping my dad together is all the diseases and the arthritis. It's like if he didn't have like my dad's the total opposite. It's almost I think Bruce Willis made that movie. It was called Unbreakable, where this is Samuel Jackson and Bruce Willis, but one of them was super healthy and the other one was the total opposite. That's me and my dad.
So
It's super.
genetics is not the thing. Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it.
I
Okay.
refuse. My dad had a stroke at 32. He has a bad heart. He has arthritis. He's got all these things, but he's also abused himself horrifically, like with alcohol, with I mean, just living just a traumatic life. And he hasn't dealt with any of his shadow, hasn't dealt with any of his traumas from the past. He grew up in communist Russia, and there's a lot of things that he doesn't even talk about unless he's been drinking, and so I'm sure he has some kind of PTSD or things like that, but I don't have what he has, and I never had that belief that, oh, because my dad is this way I have to be that way.
I think you brought up a couple of interesting points, and Katya, I definitely want to hear like how things go for you. But one more question, just because you kind of brought up like your dad not dealing with his shadow and stuff like that, and I know you said like your stress levels, like you really focus on your stress levels. So I'm wondering, as we're trying to unpack this, if like it sounds like you live like a balanced life because you eat Doritos, but then like you're kind of like have so I'm like, is it happiness that we think is like kind of the thing? Like what do you guys think? Is that kind of like, does that make sense?
Totally. I think balance is the key. I think that um, it's good to have, you know what, if I didn't have my stress or my anxious moments, I wouldn't have the opportunity to try and conquer those things. Like if I always lived in this happiness bubble, I mean, that sounds actually pretty nice to live in a happiness bubble and like just ride all the rides at Disney World. My soul didn't choose to come here and just have an easy path. Like there are some dragons that I have to slay along the way, and one of the things that has come up is asking for help. So I usually let things get very dire. I isolate myself quite a bit. I try and do everything on my own, and then out of just like, oh my God, I'm backed into the corner. I have to ask somebody for help, and that seems to be a recurring theme for me. Not that that has too much to do with my health, but I think that if I learned this lesson quicker, I would actually probably level up faster, and my anxieties and stresses, that would be another step towards limiting those things.
Okay, Kati, I definitely want to hear about you.
Okay, so I'm Virgo moon, so my body is my temple. I am totally ruled by the fact that I will feel the most comfortable and the most like me and like a goddess if I'm taking care of this. So I'm very careful about the things I put into my body. It's a lot of no sugar. I don't do a lot of bread, if any. Yogurts. I make my own granola so that way I control what's going in there. Um, and then just really knowing what my healing element is. So when I realized that where I'm lacking in my chart is wind, is air. I have no air in my chart anywhere. And then it was like, oh, but that's my healing element. So I sleep with the window open, and the wind helps me really fall asleep. When I need a download, I go into the wind for that. Like I live somewhere in the Rockies where the west wind has all power over my life. So I know that when I'm feeling depleted, run down, and drained, I go into the wind, and that just kind of boosts me right back up. Also, that means that for me, the activity is important too. I have to move my body to keep it functioning its best. And hot yoga does that for me. I like to get hot and sweaty, and the toxins come out that way, and I'm using my own body weight for power. That's how I build my power, and there's a whole lot of endurance involved in that, of course, too. So that is kind of my ritual.
Got it. Okay, it's funny because I used to teach hot yoga, and so I completely understand like just being in there and be like, I'm just gonna get it all out. Sometimes I would go in there and not feel great, and then like when you're done, you're like, I feel better. Like maybe it just like needed to come all out. So yeah, I completely feel you on that one. I do want to talk about like social life, just because Alex, you kind of said like sometimes you'll like isolate. So like, are you guys around a lot of people all the time? Like, do you think like maybe because you're not around people? There's two sides to this question, actually. Like, actually physically being around people maybe might not get you sick, but also like energetically, sometimes people can be draining, and sometimes that can lead you to like being sick. Do you think that maybe that might be something?
I would actually believe that if you're around a lot of people and you don't have your energetic guards up, you can probably absorb things that you don't want to absorb. And I mean, if there's anything, some of the stuff during the pandemic drove me bananas. Like people with false senses of security, like grandmothers going to a hockey game wearing a mask and thinking they're indestructible. I'm like, no, you're not. You're immune compromised already. You're old. And this thing that maybe protects you 3%, 5%, that's not the same thing as, wearing a hazmat suit and going into a big crowd of people during a pandemic probably isn't the smartest of things to do. So I would say that Katya and I, we don't avoid big social situations, but we just don't go out as often as we used to. Maybe it's because we're getting older too, and we don't have that urge, oh, it's the weekend, we have to go out. We have to see a whole bunch of people. For me, in the summertime, it's the weekend. You know what I have to do? I have to get on my motorcycle. I have to put my helmet on. I have to put my wife on the back of the motorcycle, and we ride off into the wind, and she gets her downloads, and I get that chance to live. I feel like I'm the star of the show when I'm on the motorcycle and I'm driving through traffic, going quick in and out, and just feeling alive. And those are the things that I love. As far as going to a networking event or things that doesn't really light me up. That doesn't. I mean, sometimes it energizes me when you get to meet the right people. Like it's. I mean, you and I had a call last week, Jade, that was really energizing. I love talking to you, and I wish that we could have been in a coffee shop and in person. And thank goodness for technology. And like I said, because of the pandemic, we got so good at networking online that it's
Yeah.
just very easy to do. So another blessing. Like there's a lot of things to be grateful for. Obviously, though, it would have been very fun to get together in person and network that way and enjoy. But yeah, Kati and I probably should get out more into the networking circles and go out more. I don't know. Maybe we're just at that stage of our life where we're just happy to recharge our batteries staying at home.
Yeah, do what works for you. Yeah, I fully support that because I personally don't mind being by myself, but that's neither here nor there. I have one more question while you guys were talking that like popped into my head. And this one, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, might be a stretch, but I'm gonna throw it out there because we're still trying to unpack where this indestructible wellness is coming from. But I'm just backstory. So when I got COVID, I think it was like 2 years ago, my mom gave me COVID. And so we were all, y'all, I made it so long without getting COVID. It was like one third of my personality at that point. Like I was just like, I never got COVID. Like I'm telling you guys, I was so proud of it. Like I was just, the moment I got COVID, I was like, oh my God, I don't know who I am anymore. And so that was an identity thing. But I got COVID because my mom gave it to me, but my dad never got COVID. And he was like in and out of my room, in and out of my mom's room. Like they like, share the same room and stuff like that. He never got COVID. Okay,
Mhm.
so this is going back to you guys said that I think your daughter gave you the flu or the stomach bug, right?
She was patient X
Okay, got
or
it.
patient
Okay,
zero.
so I'm wondering, do you guys think like maybe like being parents like may have upped your immunity? Because like the way that my dad, like you guys never really get sick. So, and like he never really gets sick. So do you think like maybe that has something to do with it? Like you're like, I don't know. Do you get where I'm going with it? Where it's just
I
like
get, yeah, I
yeah,
get where
like
you're going.
you have to be a little powered up because you're like taking care. I don't know, you know?
Yeah,
I
I can
told you it
totally
was a
relate.
bridge.
I can totally
Oh,
relate with your dad. And I would be like, I can almost like see him. Like, I don't got time to get sick. That's what I would say. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
time to get sick. I got to take care of my wife. I got to take care of my daughter. I don't care. And that's just, to me, that's like what the man does. And that's what I would have done too for my family. I wouldn't have worn a hazmat suit and, like if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But yeah, I don't know how to explain it. Is it a belief system? I think it's got to be a belief system. If you tell the universe, if you tell this thing that's in your home that you don't have time for it and you don't allow it in your body and you truly believe it with every cell of your being, I don't think it can enter the temple.
I I think I'm in alignment with you on that one. I think it's like it's in your beliefs 100% because I think that that's like the thing that I'm like, yeah. That, however, is a scary idea for someone. When I say someone, I mean myself, who like sometimes has like OCD thoughts, which is like I can't get this thought out of my head that I might get sick or something like that. And so there's like this idea of like your thoughts become your reality. So then it's just like, well, shoot, am I manifesting this random illness, some exotic like disease or something that they haven't found the cure yet? You know what I'm saying? And so that
Yeah,
one, this is one of my
yeah,
biggest fears. I told you guys I have health anxiety. So like I'm like, okay, this is great for everyone that can control their thoughts, but what about someone like me that is constantly like, am I like, is this gonna be like the mosquito bite that gives me like dengue fever that like takes me out, you know? And so what do you guys think? Is it your beliefs? Because if so, I might be in trouble, is my point. What do y'all think?
You're not in trouble. Honestly, I think it's about the experience. So it's not by accident that you have anxiety, health anxiety. It's something that your soul actually wanted to experience. So it's creating resistance there. But where there's resistance, there's energy. So when you got COVID, how did you recover from it?
How did I recover from it? I think I was sick for a couple of days. I think it took me longer to recover than it took my mom to recover. Like, I feel like she recovered within like 3 to 4 days. I think I was still testing positive for COVID after like a week or so, because this happened like during Christmas time, and I was still testing positive all the way through New Year's. So it might have been the guy that I was talking to. It was probably his fault. Honestly, it's a lot of negative energy from him.
Sure, that's
That's
awesome.
terrible.
Let's rake him over the coals right now.
But I mean, that actually would make sense because I promise you guys he was just a shadow of a creature. But that could be a thing. But it took me a long time to recover. What was I doing? I think I was just like laying down, drinking a lot of orange juice. I was talking to him a lot. And so that might have been depleting my energy, which brings us all the way back to that social thing that we were talking about before. That's all I remember doing. I remember watching Love Island with my sister on New Year's. That was about it. So it's not like I was doing real like high vibrational things. I was talking to this toxic man and watching Love Island, reality TV shows. And I'm talking like not just like one episode, we were binge watching it. Like we were back to back episodes. It was giving Rue from Euphoria, just all the way through. So that's how I recovered, and it took me a while to do that. So maybe if I would have been doing higher vibrational things, perhaps.
Or maybe your body just needed that amount of rest, that amount of time in that particular experience, but you got through it, you came through it, right? And I think that maybe the lesson
Yes.
there is that when something's on the horizon, instead of the fear of the unknown, which that's all anxiety is, maybe it's like, okay, if this happens for me, it's for the reason that I do need to rest. I do need to tune in. I need to be the one. You need to be your own COVID stick and say, oh, okay, I'm testing positive in my brain that something is going on here, right? So
Mm,
that you take your power back. It's just you reclaiming your power. I'm sure that's all it is.
I think it's
yeah.
so interesting that you were testing yourself, and not trusting your body, like listening to yourself, like, oh, I'm better now. Like you're looking at this thing, and it's
Yeah.
telling you what's going on, and it's like, no, 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 no. You need to tell it when it's done. Like, oh, if it's going to keep saying for 3 weeks that you have COVID, well, are you going to believe this thing, or do you actually feel better?
Yeah. Okay, one more thing that just popped into my head that I think that might be interesting. When I first became sick, I was in denial that I had COVID. Like I mean the worst days were like the first 2 days, and I think my mom tested. I think she tested, but I didn't take the test. Like I refused to take the COVID test. And
Hmm.
so I'm wondering if me being in slight denial of what it is, like I think I tested like on the third day and I was like, oh my God, I have COVID. And everyone was like, what did you think you had if your mom had COVID and what were you thinking, Jade? And I was just like, I don't know. I thought it was just some random cold. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. And so maybe me being in denial and not wanting to like actually come to terms with something perhaps pushed it like it elongated the process as well. Do you think like me not accepting something may have led to
Well,
prolonged
Yeah,
sickness?
that's just a misplacement of power. You gave the word COVID all of the power. And as soon as you did that, poof, now I have COVID. Now this is a big
Yeah.
deal. Whereas before you're like, if you wouldn't have labeled it, right? If you wouldn't have said this is positive or negative and just let the experience happen, I think that you probably would have gotten over it a lot faster and it wouldn't have been as scary.
yeah, I've been I've been to the doctor many times when I felt terrible. And what do they say when you go in there and you have a virus? Oh, there's nothing we can do. You just got to go home, rest, drink your fluids, and just rest. COVID's the same thing. There was nothing. There was no point to testing. There was no point to, like, you're not going to check yourself into the hospital and hook up to the ventilator on your own, your own accord. So you might as well just go home and take the best care of yourself. Like this is your body telling you it is time to hibernate and rejuvenate so that your immune system can get boosted. So knowing, I guess, going full circle, knowing what helps replenish your immune system and doing those things that heal you probably is the most important thing to do, because like there was no cure, right? There was no vaccine. There was no pill that you could.
Guys, at this point, I had the vaccine and it like still took like I respectfully, I think I would have been one of those people that like would have got taken out by COVID because I was on my last legs. Truly honest. So
Oh,
at this
geez.
point when I was like super sick, I think I had both of the vaccinations. So yeah, I don't know if that's important for the story, but yeah, I was y'all, I was like, wow,
That's the
it
thing
would have
I don't
been
like. If I'm gonna get vaccinated, I don't want to get the thing. I don't want to get the
yeah, no, I
thing.
got it bad. I got it real hard. It was
To,
terrible.
to me, it's like, don't give me that. I want the thing that's gonna make me bulletproof. Don't give me the
Mhm.
thing so that I still get it, and then it's like, oh, thank God I didn't die. No, I don't want that. I want the thing that makes me bulletproof. That's what I signed up for.
And even when you get the vaccine, you get sick for like 2 days or something like I
Sure.
remember when people were getting the vaccine at work, like because we were still remote at that time, it would be a common thing of like you take the first day off and stuff like that. So I got that sick and then I got like super sick afterwards. So to bring this full circle, because I do think that it had a lot to do with my mindset now that like we were talking about like where I was at and stuff like that mentally, like it kind of feels like the reverse of a placebo effect where it was like once I gave it that name, gave it the power and stuff like that, then it became like really really real for me and really took off where it's just like yeah, and now you're sick for 3 weeks, congratulations. So I my now that we have had this conversation, and tell me if you guys think anything differently, but I do think the beliefs had a lot to do with the indestructible wellness as well as like, balance. So my vote for this one is I think balance is very important, but also the mindset, like the mind is very important. What do you guys think?
Yeah, you know what? Either way, you're going to label it one way. We're human. We give things labels in order for us to make sense of it, right? So if you're going to label it, why not label it in the positive and give yourself all the power?
Hmm.
Instead of saying, I'm vulnerable to this, say, no, no, no. I'm like super powerful. I'm immune. I only let in exactly what I need for whatever lesson I need to learn and just be all powerful in yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say for me, and it was funny because Jade was talking to us a lot about Bali and these tropical places, with these mosquitoes and things. It's like, okay, I'm scared of snakes. I'm scared of snake bites. I'm scared of snake venom. So I know, I don't have to believe, I know that I'm not immune to snake venom. So I'm probably going to avoid stepping on a snake that's venomous. And if I do, I guess I will go to the hospital and get my anti-venom thing so that I don't lose my arm or my life. But there's definitely things that we can do to protect ourselves from things. But this mosquito thing, this is actually more people need to be like aware of mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are scary. Like some of
Yeah.
them
I
some of them have some nasty stuff that it's like, okay, like you need to, I don't know how you watch out. Like they're really, you just need, yeah, you need to have indestructible beliefs in order to beat the mosquitoes because I mean, if they wanted to, the mosquitoes would kill us all tomorrow because
yeah.
there's way more of them than us.
I think that mosquitoes are actually like one of the most deadly
Yes.
insects,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because of how many diseases they like transfer. Like I think they kill the most people or something like that. Like I'm pretty sure I should have looked this up before like we started the podcast, but I'm pretty sure that is like either the most dangerous or most like killer or has the most deaths or something. It's the mosquito.
They can't get Jade the Indestructible.
I mean,
We're putting it out
you're
there right
right.
now. They can't get her.
They cannot. Even though I have like 4 on my legs right now, none of them took me out. So we're good on this one. But yeah, mosquitoes, yeah, they're real scary because you can't really do anything. Like you don't see them coming at you. It's just you feel it after it's already done. So it's just kind of like, well, I hope that's not the bite that takes me out. So
And as we were talking, one of the times I got really sick and it made no sense whatsoever. No sense. It was middle of summer. There's no colds, there's no flus. I remember one of our clients was suing one of our clients and it stressed me out horrifically. Ask Kati. My stress levels went absolutely through the roof. And sure enough, the next day I was ill and it made no sense whatsoever. I wasn't in contact with anybody that had a cold or a flu, but man, that something about that, and it wasn't even me suing the other person. It was just me kind of being in the middle of this thing, and empathy and I just didn't want to see this happen. And I remember that really got me. So, I mean, it's important to notice what's going on in your life when you do fall ill. And it's not necessarily just because somebody sneezed on you.
I think that you brought up a good point, like the stress and everything. When I did get sick, COVID, it was right after I got off an airplane. I don't love being on airplanes, so there's like a peak of stress for me there. So, can I ask you like favorite ways for you guys to like manage your stress that you think that like always works? I know you said you like to like go to sleep when like right before you feel like you're getting sick, but like is there a way that y'all manage stress that you feel like really works for you?
For me, it's definitely going to hot power yoga. This is not just yin yoga. I'm full on. It's like every time somebody comes to me in yoga, they're like, man, you're intense. I'm like, yeah, but this is not a competitive intense. This is me working through something in my body, or I'll go for a run, or I'll go for a walk. It's very seldom something where I'm just sitting, like writing poetry or painting. I wish that that was me, but no, it's usually something that involves power where I have to actually move power through my body, because stress is just when it all that energy gets bundled up in one place. So moving it out through the wind is how I manage.
And I recently discovered this about myself that if I go into the garage and I can fix something, but it has to be in quiet now. Now I know this about myself that I need to not have any music. I need to be with my thoughts. I need to be with that stress. But if I'm spending my time in the garage cleaning my motorcycle, working on fixing something, but kind of burning off that emotion, burning off that feeling, and actually getting down to basically its core, why it's bothering me so much. And to me, that's been one of the most powerful things that I've just recently come in contact with. I would say my old way of dealing with something is not dealing with it, just going to sleep. And I'm like, man, no, and there's no wonder why I would get sick or just have adverse effects to these kinds of things. And we were talking a little bit about the elements like water, wind. For me, it's just letting the emotion take over me and just letting it burn off, like actually getting physically hot, getting like physically upset about this thing and just letting it be, like letting it burn while I'm just keeping myself busy with like mindless things like cleaning, like I said, cleaning the motorcycle or cleaning my shop. And eventually, what happens when it burns off is I get to the root of what's bothering me, and then I take the power back. It no longer has power over me. That was a total game changer.
And that makes sense. Okay, so I feel like this has been really helpful and like really illuminating. But do you feel like we have gotten to kind of like, in my opinion, the rest, the stress, like all of these things make sense, but also the mindset? Those are my top three takeaways for this episode. But like, what do y'all think? How are you guys feeling?
I feel good. Honestly, all I want to do is remind people to realign with themselves, take the power. The world is yours to create what you want of it and what you need. So even in the shadow and the illness and the dark times, there for a reason, a little bit of resistance so that you get to come out the other side even better.
For sure. And spend time with people that energize you. I would definitely recommend that. And if you can't find anybody, then energize yourself with yourself.
And that's a mic drop. Okay. I think that that's a beautiful like place for us to kind of wrap things up. But before we do, Alex, Kati, where can people like listen to your podcast and like follow you and stuff like that?
Sure. Our podcast is called The Paragenius Podcast, and you can find us at theparageniuspodcast.com. And you can also find us at kpdesign.ca. That's our business where we do branding and graphics and make the world a beautiful place. And I have the brand alchemist here with me, my beautiful wife and co-host from the Paragenius podcast. I mean, once you hear our episode with Jade, it's mind blowing the magic that comes out. And Jade was just such a great sport. It's been a lot of fun hanging out with you, Jade. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been so great hanging out with you guys too. I had so much fun and such a fun conversation on this podcast and on your podcast as well. So I will be sure to link you guys' podcast and your website and everything in the description box. So if y'all would like to reach out, it is there for you guys. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for joining me. And thank you, listeners, for listening. I will wrap up this episode and I hope that you guys have a good day or a good night. And I hope that you're well. Bye.